Hi, everybody, and hi, Ray. Here we are again with part 4 of our series on the incredible planetary lineup of spring 2016. And this time we're going to talk about the Mercury retrograde phase and the Mercury eclipse. Hi, Ray.
Hi, Antonia. Good to be back with you again.
And where are you today? From where are you talking today?
Today I'm talking from Farmington Hills, Michigan, my home office.
Which is your main home office. Great.
Yes.
Okay, then let's get right into it. Soon we will experience the start of the Mercury retrograde phase, and it will be starting on April 28th on 23 degrees of Taurus, and then on May 9th, we're going to have a Mercury eclipse on 19 degrees of Taurus, and in May 22nd, Mercury will turn direct again on 14 degrees of Taurus. Now, Ray, what does Mercury retrograde mean in general?
Well, keep in mind that Mercury goes retrograde about every, 88 days, something like that. And it lasts anywhere from 19 to 23 days.
Yes.
And when Mercury goes retrograde, it means the principles of Mercury kind of stall, and that's commerce, that's business, that's communications. So it's not unusual to experience computer problems, cell phone problems, communication misunderstandings with people. You know, they say the attention's in the details. So if you're making deals with people, you need to pay attention to the details. Otherwise, you get misunderstandings. And then you have to go back and redo it. You have to tinker with it and readjust it a little bit and fine-tune it so it comes out right afterwards. So you just really got to pay attention. For instance, when you're making orders to buy or sell to your broker, make sure that broker repeats back to you that you said buy instead of sell, because sometimes they'll say the opposite, but because you're in such a hurry, you don't pay attention, you gloss over it, and there's mistakes.
Okay, understood. And now let's get into a little bit into the specifics. This time it's going to happen in the sign of Taurus. We see here the horoscope of the first part of the phase on April 28th when it's going to turn retrograde in Taurus. So what does the sign of Taurus indicate in special in this time?
Well, Taurus represents value, net worth, things that you consider important. And Mercury's there, which is knowledge and service. So there's going to be a little more importance put on accuracy of information, the importance of knowledge. Probably books will be important because they'll be valued because Mercury's in Taurus. But the other thing is Taurus rules banking and money in general. So any things involving deals and monetary matters, your bank account or any dealings with banks, you have to make sure the deposit that you add up is the correct amount. The amount you're taking out, writing checks for, is the correct amount. You don't want to overdraw on your accounts. And as far as the world is concerned, Mercury retrograde in Taurus means central banks are probably changing policies again. There's going to be some surprising announcements because don't forget, Mars is retrograde too and Pluto's retrograde as of last week. And now you got Mercury retrograde in Taurus, with Pluto retrograde, which is a debt sign. So there's changes of policies likely in our central banking activities.
And when you look at the chart, it's interesting enough that that day when Mercury turns retrograde, the moon will highlight a big grand trine between Pluto, Mercury, and Jupiter and the North Node. And we will see in the further charts that these things keep being highlighted by the constellations. Any idea about that, Ray?
Well, as I'm looking at the chart that you've got here, I'm noticing, you got the grand trine, Moon and Pluto, which means taxes and debt and the economy and how we're raising the, debt around the world is still important. But it trines Mercury and it trines Jupiter. So there's some proposals that are made that sound good, but again, the devil's in the details. Yeah. There could be some nice policies projected here, but whether they're carried out or not is questionable because you still got the T-square going on, the mutable T-square, which means things change every 2 or 3 weeks. It's hard to get traction on anything because ideas change and they're presented, they sound good, but then people want to change them again, and it's hard to get a sense of predictability and stability here, even with the grand trine in Earth.
And is there a specific advice you would give? I mean, should we, during those 3 weeks, just do nothing with our money, or play on security, or
Well,
what is your advice?
okay, it's not, I wouldn't say you should do nothing.
Mm,
That's never good advice to do nothing unless the only other choice is to do something wrong.
okay. Yeah, of course.
So
Yeah.
you just can't put yourself on hold. You just have to pay attention to detail. And again, whatever you communicate, make sure that it's heard in the manner that you meant it. And if
Yes.
somebody's communicating something to you, repeat back what you thought they said so
Yes.
that there's understanding. This is not bad in many ways. It's actually pretty good, the Grand Trine in Earth, because the Grand Trine in Earth indicates net worth is increasing. When you
Mm-hmm.
have Earth, that's money and that's financial security, especially with Taurus highlighted. So the fact that stock markets are going up, as we said they would in part 2,
Mm-hmm.
due to the central bank policies at that time, which were surprisingly accommodative in Japan, Europe, and the United States, the markets are going gangbusters right now as we're talking. They're making new highs for the
Yes.
last 8 or 9 months, at least in America. And this Grand Trine talks about that maybe we'll see a record high during Mercury retrograde in Taurus with the
Yeah.
Grand Trine to Pluto and Jupiter.
Makes absolute sense, because Mercury is going to start at 23 degrees and it's going to go back all those degrees. It's going to hit the degrees of Pluto again. And that brings me to the next slide I've prepared, because now we're entering the really exciting part of this, which is the Mercury eclipse on May 9th, 2016. Oh, excuse me, that little writing mistake I have in there. Anyway, you know what I mean. Mercury eclipse. And that's a very, very interesting constellation. And I found 2 pictures here in the internet for those who are interested, because it's not only exciting for us astrologers, also for astronomers and stargazers, because Mercury will be passing before the disk of the sun and will be seen as a little black dot. And here you can find how it's visible, when it starts, in the middle of it, and in the end of it. And actually, of course, you need daytime, because you need to see the sun and you need to look through special glasses, of course. Otherwise, it would be very dangerous. But I think a lot of stargazers will be really excited. And it's astrologically exciting too. Let me go back to that slide here. And Ray, what do you see in the constellations of this special day, May 9th?
Well, first of all, let me point out that, as you mentioned, it's like a little speck going across the surface of the sun.
Yes.
It's going to last, I think, 6 or 7 hours so people will be able to view it. So it's May 9th that takes place, which for me is interesting because on May 10th is the midpoint. It's the middle of the Mercury retrograde.
Mm-hmm.
And in financial astrology, any financial market that doesn't reverse within a couple days, 1 or 2 days of Mercury going retrograde, does usually make a big reversal at the midpoint of Mercury retrograde. So we're going to watch for that. If the stock market doesn't start to fall around April 28th, then it may continue up and make its top right around that midpoint, May 9th, May 10th that we're looking at. And then we could get a pretty good decline into, the next slide you're probably going to show, which is Mercury going direct, which is when Saturn squares Jupiter.
Yeah, let's look into that chart. That is pretty exciting too. May
That's a good
22nd.
one.
And here we see that again the moon is highlighting our spring constellations, and this time moon is going to be between Mars and Saturn, and
Yeah.
highlighting that square, and it's going to be a full moon at the same time. So it's a very important date.
That's a big one. You've got the Mercury going direct and still making the Grand Trine to
Yes.
Pluto and Jupiter. So people still, their net worth is still going well, and probably there's going to be announcements from the Federal Treasury or National Treasuries, at least the United States National Treasury Department will probably announce record receipts for taxes this year. That'll probably come out somewhere around late May, around this time. But there's something else going on too, that Moon, Mars, Saturn, and Sag opposite the Sun moving into Gemini. There's warlike rhetoric going on because Mars and Saturn are your warlike planets. And there's the moon right in between them in Sagittarius. So it's all about religious ideology and the opposition of the religions with each other, or people who are warlike, threatening one another because of their different ideas. And it's a full moon too, so this is also still misunderstanding because Mercury's stationary, but the misunderstanding is exaggerated because it's aggressive communication and threatening communication, going over the top. I think that's what we got to watch out for. This is probably not the best time for travel, but yet, as far as finances go, even if the market does take a bit of a hit here, I think it's still going to be okay because that grand trine with Mercury, Jupiter, and Pluto, which is going to last for a while.
So yeah, what I'm hearing is that financially it could be a quite interesting phase, but as we're going out of it, it could be a political tension. And in Germany, we're having these things going on now with this new radical party called AfD, and they are becoming more and more outward radical about, being against all Islam people, and more discussions are now in the news about it, and the tone becomes sharper and sharper. So this could be a peak in this discussion or in this fight about this.
Absolutely, that's what it's saying. That's saying that you got a peak here of differences of opinions. The rhetoric is getting inflammatory and threatening, and it's probably a peak around this full moon when Mercury goes direct, give or take maybe 3 or 4 days.
So people in their private lives should also, try to not enter into heavy and serious discussions because they may go in the wrong direction.
Well, not if they're dealing with people. You don't want to enter into a serious discussion with people who have the opposite point of view with you, whether it's religion, whether it's politics, whether it's your own personal behavior. Notice too, this May 22nd is very close to the last passage of Jupiter square Saturn. And this is not a good time, not an easy time to come to consensus and agreement. This is more likely a time where people feel that agreement's been violated and you're betraying the agreement that we set into effect. And so you want to make sure that if you made an agreement with somebody, you're owning up to it. And if somebody's made an agreement to you and they're not doing it, you need to talk to them and find out, why aren't you doing what we agreed to? Or what needs to be done so that we can complete this project as we agreed to? Because this is a time where opportunists take advantage of those who are maybe passive and not assertive.
And would you think that agreements would be better off taken before that peak time, or should people wait it out and try to, take time and wait until these difficult constellations are done?
Well, if they can, they should wait. They should actually wait till we get past all of these incredible spring lineup of geocosmic signatures, which really is going to take us through June 29th. But sometimes you can't wait.
Of course,
And so if you can't wait, then be careful. Again, pay attention to the details. Make sure people can deliver what they promise. Make sure you can deliver what you promise. And if possible, probably try to talk to an astrologer to pick good times during this period when you have to do things, but you got a little bit of leeway. Maybe when the moon's in Taurus, maybe when the moon, gets to Jupiter and touches off that grand trine of Pluto to Mercury. Those might be good times during the difficult agreement periods to try to swing something through.
Oh, that's very good advice. Thank you for that, because that gives me a clue what to look for when my clients ask me. Because you know how it is, Ray. Sometimes when you're asked by a client what's a good time, and you see all these terrible constellations, and you get stuck and think, oh my God, what's a good way out? But that does make sense. Yeah, I'll take a look at that.
Well, if they can wait till after June 29th, that's the best. If not, then try to find these little windows of time that got these favorable planets in there, or the moon exalted in Taurus.
I will. I will. Okay, Ray, now you gave me this chart to put in the presentation because you said, it'll be worth to talk a little bit about silver. So what's that with the silver and the Mercury?
Well, Mercury rules Quicksilver, and we're in this grand trine period of Mercury, grand trine Pluto, and Jupiter, and we're, as a financial market analyst, I want to look for markets that are showing something interesting happening. And silver has recently broken out of two important trend lines in the last, one today, this week, and another one a couple weeks ago. You can see this with the red arrow where silver's starting to break out now. It's at its highest price in probably 9 or 10 months. And the numbers I got here, a little 1 and a little 2,
Mm-hmm.
they represent the
You
three
mean
and a
this
half year
year?
cycle.
This
Yeah,
one
that's
and this little two. Okay.
well, go back to number 4 over
Four.
there.
Yeah.
Number
Okay.
4,
Uh-huh.
that's the 7-year cycle.
Okay.
That's the
Mm-hmm.
7-year cycle, and it's breaking into 2 phases. 1 and 2 are the 2 phases.
Okay.
The number
One,
2
two.
is probably the end of the 7-year cycle because it's breaking out now. This could be a whole new 7-year cycle, which means, silver has a chance of getting up above $20 an ounce again,
Wow.
unless it falls back below these lines. If it falls back below these lines in typical Mercury retrograde, it's a fake out, not a
Okay.
breakout. And that's we always got to watch with Mercury retrograde, that we get an indication that something's going to happen, and it's not happening. You get false signals. So this looks like a good signal by a chartist point of view. It's breaking out of these trend lines. But with Mercury retrograde, we got to be careful it doesn't fall back under those trend lines, which means this will be a fake out. I think this is for real, though. At this point, I think it's for real, but I'll change my mind if it starts going back below those trend lines.
And you would, of course, address that in your reports, right? I mean, if people
We'll
subscribe,
address this.
they'll,
Yeah,
you tell, I mean, especially if somebody has your daily, he will absolutely know what's going on, right?
yeah. The daily we covered these things, and we did really well when Mars went from late Libra through Capricorn in gold, as we talked about last time.
Uh-huh.
And now we're going to be, we still have another opportunity coming up as Mars goes back into, it's going retrograde now in Sag. So we may have a pullback here in the metals as it goes through the first 6 degrees of Sag, but once in late May, it goes back into Scorpio. We're looking for another big opportunity here to play the gold market and probably get another chance to play the silver market then too.
Okay, that means if people want to know more about this, they should subscribe to your services, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, great. So here's your address, your website, and also MMA Europe is your German website where people can get your weekly column every week in German, right? Which is
That's
very good
correct.
service. All right, mail, phone, everything's right there. So don't make sure you call Ray. And if you're more into personal horoscopes, you may be interested to do an appointment with myself. Because
Yes, they should. You've been pretty good. Some of my clients have been calling you, and they've been calling me and tell me how happy they are with the interpretation you've given to them. So
thanks.
good work, Antonia. Thank you
Yeah.
for servicing my clients so well with astrology.
Especially like when you want to know about your family, your children, and I'm kind of good with these things. I have a Cancer rising and a Taurus moon, so I'm a family person, and I'm good with personal charts. So I think
Yes.
I help you. You do it financial, you're really great with it. I do personal, and together we're a good team. So,
Yes, we are.
people, stay tuned for our next interview when we're going to address the next important constellations and the next important details as well. And Ray, thank you for your interesting insights as always. And until the next
Well,
time.
thank you, Antonia.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Bye,
Thank you very
everybody. Bye,
much.
Ray.
Bye-bye now.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.